Welcome everybody. Beautiful evening to be together as the fall, that amazing season. I love the fall. I don't know about you, but I love it. Coming in, the leaves, we're going to be singing about the leaves falling, and certainly we're going to be referencing Thanksgiving. And I'm going to debut with you as a storyteller. It's not the first time I've been a storyteller, but you have not seen this part of me, so I'm excited about that. But let us begin, first of all, with our opening song. Now, Liz has put, or will put shortly, the lyrics in the link to the lyrics in the chat, and you can click on it and access any lyrics you need for tonight. This is a all voices welcome. This is a, you can sing, you can hum, you can sigh, you can sob. It's a beautiful thing about Zoom. You can make whatever noise you need and we won't know. But I hope you'll sing on this one. Just an invitation to end the day together. Let everything go. Be right here. Receiving, sharing, giving in a circle of friends. Evening falls, the day is ending. All my work, I lay it down. Let it rest until tomorrow. Day is done. Lay it down. Let's do that again. Evening falls, the day's ending. All my work, I lay it down. Let it rest until tomorrow. Day is done. Lay it down. Lay it down. Your every burden. Evening shadows gather round. Come sweet night and gentle darkness. Day is done. Lay it down. We'll try that part together. Lay it down. Your every burden. Evening shadows gather round. Come sweet night and gentle darkness. Day is done. Lay it down. Many of you know this, but maybe needed a little refresher. If you didn't know it, now you do. Let's do the whole thing again. And just let your voice, let the vibration in your body, in your throat, in your chest warm you up. Let your body know that it is an instrument. It is full of breath and life and spirit, and that singing awakens all of that. And it brings us back into harmony with ourselves. So let's join together. Evening falls, the day's ending. All my work, I lay it down. Let it rest until tomorrow. Day is done. Lay it down, lay it down. Lay it down, your every burden. Evening shadows gather round. Come sweet night and gentle darkness. Day is done. Lay it down. And let's do the ending. Come sweet night and gentle darkness. Day is done. Lay it down. Let it rest. Yes. Ah, I just love singing that song. I feel like it just reaches out and kind of embraces us all and kind of strokes our head and says, it's okay, it's over now. So anyway, thank you for singing that with me. So one thing I forgot to mention is we are leaving the chat open because we know it is a really precious way for you all to connect with each other when you can't talk to each other. But we've learned that it really helps if you don't chat during a song. And many of you know why. A little chat, a little thing pops up on my screen telling me that somebody has just put something in. It's super distracting. More than once I've lost my place in a song because I was reading the darn chat. So please, for my sake, do not use the chat until I'm not singing. Okay, thank you so much. Hi, Elaine from Seattle. Wow, I always love it when there's at least one Seattle person in the room. All right, my friends. So as I've said in the publicity, I've got several themes, as usual, kind of running through the evening. But I think one of the underpinnings is just the power of stories. I'm going to really do two stories tonight. One of them I'm not really going to tell, but I'm going to reference. And the power of stories, too, they can delude us. They can distract us. They can create a false reality that can distort our view of the world. And we can all think of a lot of examples right now in our world of stories that have been told or are being told that are untrue and are changing people's realities. Very destructive, that kind of storytelling. But then there's the stories, and thankfully I think many, many millions more of stories that illuminate something about the world and about the truth and about life in a way that is poetic and imagistic and kind of gets in there, gets into our heart. And how many of you got read to or told stories when you were little? Oh man, we're so lucky. We are so lucky. Yeah, me too. I just lived on stories. So to me, being told a story is one of the happiest things possible. So we're gonna have the stories, and maybe I'll say a minute more about that in a minute. But I want to do our next song, which is "Return Again," a very, very beautiful chant by Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. And I wanted to sing it tonight because the stories tonight, in one way or another, invite us to come back to our soul, come back to who we really are, what we really believe, and kind of where we are grounded, where we are rooted. So it's a perfect song for tonight. Return Again. I know a lot of you know it. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. Sing that with me. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. The second part goes, return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Let's just try that part. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return again. Now you have it. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. And again. Return again. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. what you are. Return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again. Return again to the land of your soul. You sing return again, and I'll do the echo. Return again. Return to the land of your soul. The land of your soul. Thank you, Rabbi Karlbach. Inviting us to come home, sort of like lay it down, inviting us to lay down the delusions, the pretenses, the whatever costumes we've adopted over the years, or just layers of character that maybe don't fit us anymore. And return to the land of our souls. If you brought a candle, it would be a nice time to bring it out and just hold it up to the screen as a way of offering light to each other. So if you have one, if you don't, mine shines for all of you. I'm a stand-in for all of you. And then put it, if you like, where you can see it, and gaze at it, and we'll just take a moment to arrive a little more fully in body and spirit, with a few moments of quiet together. And you may definitely close your eyes if you like, or cast your eyes down, soften them, and feel the accepting of this invitation to return, to come home, to the simplicity of just being a breathing body. Flesh and bone and blood and breath. Letting your consciousness just drop down into your belly or your chest. And notice nothing but the breathing, the in and out, maybe your belly swelling, maybe a little brush of air through your nostrils. Allowing ourselves to be as simple a creature as we really are. No need for great thoughts or ruminations, any worries, any lingering obsessions. I know I always have plenty. See if with the out breath you can just breathe them out and release them. They'll be there for you later, but release them. Let it all go. There is this beautiful space inside that is the land of our soul. There's so many ways to visit it, through music, through breath, through nature, through poetry, through touch, and always through love. So it is not a long distance to travel to return to this land of the soul. It is the wink of an eye, just a breath. So enjoy that for a moment. And then, still in this place of openness and quiet, to shift our attention to a more literal word, land, as we each think about the land that we are physically living on right now, being on right now. Feel our feet touching it in some way. Imagine your feet pressed right against the earth. And maybe sending some loving, thankful energy down through the body, down through the feet, connecting with that sense of being landed people, grounded people. And as we acknowledge the kinship with the trees and the plants, the fungus, the mycelium, the winged, the four-legged, the green and the brown, the waters, we're just our kinship with all of that, we also acknowledge that this beautiful, giving land was almost in its entirety stolen at one point, and that we must live in consciousness of that. And each in our own way be in a spirit of reconciliation and reparation, however that sits in your soul. But just to acknowledge this, especially before Thanksgiving. So one more deep breath of gratitude for the gratitude we feel every day of the year. Thanksgiving is just highlighting it, and we can come back into the room, open eyes. Yeah, thank you. So the story of delusion is a story that I think many of us who grew up in this country and are over the age of maybe 30 probably grew up with a story about Thanksgiving. And it's a very sweet story of the happy pilgrims and the happy native people, and how the native people taught the pilgrims how to grow corn and beans, and then the nice pilgrims invited the nice natives to dinner, and it was just hunky-dory. It was such a sweet story. I loved it as a kid. I just thought that's the country I want to be from, you know. So it's downright heartbreaking to know how wildly, tragically inaccurate that story is. And I'm grateful to know more of the truth every day now. And it also breaks my heart to see parents storming school board meetings to try to get history to stay false, to protect their children from the truth. Well, I agree that I want to give my children stories, but I want to give them true stories, good stories, stories to live by. I know you do too, and I know if you were parents, you probably did. So let's leave that false story behind, and let's celebrate the simple stories that help us live the lives we want to live. So this song is called A Simple Story. You have the chorus in your lyrics. Okay. Sorry, I have to just get my lyrics. I need to look at my lyrics. I haven't sung it in a while. I think I've sung it here before. But there we go. All right. Here we go. A simple story. Oh, when I meet my maker, 3 questions I will ask. One about the future, the other about the past. Pray tell me where we're going. Where did we begin? And what's the purpose of it all as through the night we spin? 'Cause I need a simple story that makes its meaning clear. Someday I will say goodbye to all I treasure here. I need a simple story, like holding my mother's hand. 'Cause the older I am growing, the less I understand. I'd love to have you sing that with me. And I have to say, as I practiced this a little bit, I realized that I had put the lyrics in your song, in your lyrics, but they're a little outdated because songs morph over time. It's the neatest thing. They just grow. As my heart grows and changes, the song grows and changes. So a couple of the words will be different. Don't worry about it. I need a simple story. I need a simple story that makes its meaning clear. 'Cause someday I will say goodbye to all I treasure here. I need a simple story like holding my mama's hand. 'Cause the older I am growing, the less I understand. Now science has its theories, its proofs and measurements, a tiny point exploding in the mighty firmament, and all the living universe, everything we know, came tumbling out to fill the sky 12 billion years ago. And all the great traditions have stories of their birth, with gods and magic animals that covered all the earth. I tell them to my children, it helps them go to sleep. But underneath it all, the dark is silent and it's deep. So I need a simple story that makes its meaning clear. 'Cause someday I will say goodbye to all I treasure here. I need a simple story like holding my mother's hand. 'Cause the older I am growing, the less I understand. And though I'm feeling empty, I feel I've gone astray. The years have left their mark on me, I can see it in my face. But I know we're born for something, I know it's not in vain. And my heart sings with a story that words cannot explain. And I need that simple story singing in my ears. 'Cause someday I will say goodbye to all I treasure here. I need a simple story like holding my mother's hand. 'Cause the older I am growing, the less I understand. So I'm holding my mama's hand. Thank you. All right, my friends. Well, I'm going to now do a little quick scene change, and I'm going to shift into a storytelling mode. This is a story that I started telling to children when I worked in the schools for many, many, many years. And come Thanksgiving time, I just always felt moved to. Oh, this is so interesting. I'm sorry, I can't get my. My recording to work. Maybe it's because yours is running. For some reason, Liz, I think because I've never run into this before, but we'll just hope yours is recording because mine won't work. Yours is on. Good. Okay. Anyway, so I love this story. I would always dress up a little bit for it and so forth. So I'm going to just get into it. I'm going to dress up a minute and I'm going to bring out my little stage props and we're going to have a story that you are going to help me with. If any of you brought a vegetable, now is the time to have it right at hand. And just give me a moment. I'll be right back. What do you think? Okay. So, this is a story I bet many of you know. But as I began putting it together, thinking about it, I thought, this is so timely. I can't believe how timely this story is. So, here we go. The Tale of Stone Soup. Once upon a time, long time ago, and just yesterday, there was a village. It was far away, and it was right here. The village thrived year after year, generation after generation, growing their crops, raising their livestock, drawing well from the water, gathering the fruits of the trees. They lived in harmony with the land and with each other. It was a village of people who took care of each other in illness, who celebrated weddings and births and funerals, who had festivals and danced out under the moon. There was joy in this village. There was community, and there was peace. But then a terrible year came, a year of drought and famine. The crops dried and withered, and the harvest was very meager. And yet still somehow they got through. They scavenged in the woods. They fed each other. They shared what they had, and they made do. And still they sang and danced together. But then another year of drought followed that year. The crops failed again. There was very little to be had. Many of the young people left the town to go to the cities, and the spirit of the village became somewhat dampened, somewhat gray and sad. But still there was hope. Still they held hands. Still they reached out to each other. But at the third year of drought, it became so desperate that people began to hoard. They began to lock their doors. When someone knocked in need, they would shoo them away with a fierce word. There was little laughter. The children no longer played in the streets. The old men no longer sat out on the common playing chess and smoking their pipes. The women no longer hung out their laundry, laughing and talking together. It was still and sad and lonely. One day, a stranger came to town, an old woman, a vagabond, a pilgrim, maybe a witch, maybe who knows. She hobbled into town with her old rucksack on her back, tired, dusty, and hungry. "Ah," she said, "here is a village that will give me a nice dinner. It's been done before so many other villages." And she went and she knocked on the first door. And if you want to knock on your hard surface, you go right ahead. She knocked on the door. There was no answer. She knocked again. And she saw a curtain open and eyes peer out suspiciously. And then a voice said, "Begone with you." "Well," said the old woman, "that's not very nice. But still, one household, I'll try the next one." On she went to the next. Came to the door, knocked on the door. No answer. Once again, the curtain wavered. A face leaned out, closed the curtain, said not a word, and all was silent again. "Oh dear, this is not good," said the pilgrim. And house to house she went, and every house it was the same. Until finally she saw a little child playing alone in the dust, and she said, "Hey, my child, does your family have any food to share?" And the child looked up and said, "Oh no, we don't have any food. We are hungry." The child said, "It hasn't rained for many years." "Ah," said the old woman, I see. Well," she said to herself, "I see something must be done." So she went into the commons, where at the center of all the little houses, and she sat down and she built a fire. Now, strangers did not come to this town very often, so all the curtains were moving and all the eyes were peering, and they saw this old woman in her funny old outfit and her rucksack making a fire in the common. And "What is she doing?" they whispered to the ones in the house with them. And then the old woman reached into her rucksack and she pulled out a tin pot, a tin cauldron, and she placed it on the fire. She drew some water. Well, first she filled it actually with some water from the well. She placed it on the fire and she began to stir and stir. Well, by now the whole village was watching, wondering, what is this person doing? And Finally, some of the children crept out and came close. "What are you doing? What are you making?" Said, "Oh, I am making stone soup." "Stone soup?" They said. "Is it good?" "Oh, it's the best soup ever," she said. "Go tell your parents to come." Children ran home. They called their parents. "The old lady is making stone soup and she says it's delicious. Come see." Well, the parents huffed and puffed and snarled, but out they came, because curiosity is probably the last thing to die in a human being. So out they came, and they clustered around and looked suspiciously and said, "What do you mean stone soup? No one can make soup from a stone." And she said, "Ah, you have never had my stone soup." And she picked up a stone from her rucksack. She smelled it. "Ah," she said. She licked it. This will be the best stone soup ever." Into the pot it went. She stirred and she stirred and she stirred, and they looked and they looked and they looked. "How long will it take?" said one very hungry child. "Oh, not long at all," she said. "In fact, it is already almost done. But to be honest," she said, tasting just a bit, "it could use a little salt. Would anyone possibly have some salt?" "Ah, yes," said one child. "We've got salt at home." Ran home, brought the salt, brought it back out. "Thank you, my child," sprinkled the salt. And then, as she stirred, she began to sing a little song. "Stone soup, a little bit for everyone. Stone soup, we're making stone soup." Sing it with me. "Stone soup, a little bit for everyone. Stone soup, you're making stone soup." And then she tasted it again. "Oh, the best yet," she said. "If only I had a little carrot or potato, that would just round it out." "Oh," said one villager, "I have one potato at home. I'll go get it right now." And another said, "Oh, Anita." And Anita said, "I have a carrot." And she brought it out, as did Jocelyn. And I don't have everybody on screen, so I'm just going to have to deal with the people I can see. Anybody bring a potato? Hold it up. I see something. Irene's got something round there. Oh, Shashtin, is that a potato? Yes. Ah, beautiful. And they offered it, and the old woman cut it up, threw it in, stirred, and everybody sang, "Stone soup, a little bit for everyone. Stone soup, we're making stone soup. Stone soup, a little bit for everyone. Stone soup, we're making stone soup." And then taste. Ah, delicious. Oh, the best. Oh, it would be so good if it just had a little spot of meat in it of some kind. I don't suppose anyone has a scrap of meat. "Oh," said 3 or 4 people. "Absolutely." Now, I didn't ask any of you to bring meat, so no worries. But other people not in this room ran and found their little scraps, their little hoards, their little fragments of protein, and brought it out and dropped it into the soup. They began to plop it in, and then one of the children took the handle and began to turn it, and the soup was bubbling, and the aromas were spreading out into the atmosphere. And as people sang, they began to move their feet. It was almost like they were dancing. "Stone soup, a little bit for everyone. Stone soup, we're making stone soup. Stone soup, a little bit for everyone. Stone soup, we're making stone soup." Well, by then the bubbling was going on and the aromas were going on and people's stomachs were growling and their anticipation was high, but their spirits were even higher. And then she tasted it once more and she said, "Oh, it is exquisite. If anyone had any more vegetables, maybe some greens or a little bit of turnip." "Thank you, Kathy." "Yes. And whatever you have." "Thank you, Jeannie." "Perfect. Just bring it and plop it in. And if you have any spices." And so you can imagine how the aromas grew, the flavor grew, the soup thickened. It became this abundant, overflowing meal. And after a little more stirring, a little more tasting, she said, "Run and get your bowls. The feast is ready. The table is laid." And off they went, and they brought back their bowls, and she ladled out generous bowls full of soup. And of course there was enough, and more than enough, and people ate their fill and had more. It was a magic pot that never stopped giving, and a magic stone that never stopped creating flavor. And the joy and the dancing and the hugging and the reunions and the sense of belonging again and being safe together again was the richest feast of all. And in the midst of all that merriment and joy, the old woman quietly packed up her rucksack and her stone and her little bowl, and she walked off on her journey, never to return. But from that day on, people told the story of the visitor, the stranger, the outsider, who did not belong, who was not wanted, who became the magic that restored the village to the land of their soul. It invited them into a returning. And no matter how hard times were, and there were hard times, this village never forgot to love and care for each other, to dance and to sing. And when they really were hard up, they made stone soup together. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was just way fun for me anyway. I know it was fun for you too. Part of what gave me the idea of doing this story, certainly it was Thanksgiving, but it was also, I went to my first live music concert last weekend. Really, my first in 2 years probably. And I went and saw a songwriter named Dar Williams. Some of you might be familiar with her. See your hands if you've heard of Dar Williams. Yeah. Very interesting songwriter. And she has a song that I would have learned for tonight, but it was a little beyond me. But it is a song about a small town in America. She tours all over the country, and she's written a book about small towns and how she's seen them evolve in the last 20 years that she's been touring and become more and more vibrant places of community. It sounds like a very inspiring book. I haven't read it. But her song is just such an incredibly touching song of immigrants not wanted in a small Midwestern town, and how a generation later, the immigrant that she wished would go away has become the mayor. And I know this happened. There's a town somewhere in, I think it's Minnesota, where the mayor is a Somali immigrant. And not to mention Ilhan Omar, of course. So anyway, just this sense that those we see as stranger, outsider, stay away, we want to stay the way we are, bring these gifts. They bring these gifts. And many of us know that, but too many of us don't. So anyway, that was why I wanted to share that. Here's a song from Nancy Schimmel from Acapella, Malvina Reynolds' daughter, wonderful songwriter. She's a storyteller. Oh my goodness, that woman really is. Well, I am too, but she's a great storyteller. So I want to do this song because it just goes with that story so beautifully. It's called I Still Remember It. No, I don't know, what is it called? In My Bones. It's in your song. It's in your lyrics. There once was a time when people were gentle. We talked to the trees and were never alone. And all that we owned were our baskets and digging sticks. I still remember it in my bones. Sing that last with me. I still remember it in my bones. And sometimes we quarreled, and then we forgot it. For all to keep living, we needed each one. And all that we owned was the skill in our fingers. I still remember it in my bones. We never had locks, So our lives were not hidden, our tears and our laughter were shared all around. And all that we owned were our dreams and our stories. I still remember it in my bones. Sing it with me. I still remember it in my bones. There once was a time when people were gentle. We talked to the trees and were never alone. And all that we owned were our baskets and digging sticks. I still remember it in my bones. I still remember it in my bones. Beautiful, beautiful song. Thank you. I came across this poem today when I was looking for poems to fit our themes. And I was so fortunate to find this poem by a Nigerian poet named Babatunde Aremu. He is a graduate of a university in Lagos, Nigeria, and has a master's in managerial psychology. And he says, I love using Yoruba proverbs to drive his thoughts along when he writes poetry. So he has several poems online. This is the one that fits our theme so well tonight. Open those tight fists. Do not hold back. Make your palms transparent. Release that dime. Be a blessing. Wipe tears away. That little drop is what someone desires. Be an answer to someone's prayer. Be an instrument of succor. Sow that seed impartially. Don't delay. Seize the moment. Be an angel to that poor soul. Remember, whatsoever you sow shall return to you in folds. Thank you, Babatunde Aremu. And also Rumi. I just had to bring in Rumi in the guest house because this is not about welcoming others, it's about welcoming ourselves, which is just the most perfect segue. The guest house, I know many of you probably know this. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Rumi wrote that how many, 1,000 years ago maybe? Isn't it, wisdom as eternal as stars, maybe even more eternal. So, well, let's see. I have time to do this song. It's funny. It's not exactly on any theme. It's just a beautiful, beautiful song. And the title is Thanksgiving Eve. So come on, it fits. We're gonna do it. You may know this. It's one of Bob Frankie's most well-known and beloved songs. Thanksgiving Eve. It is in your lyrics, I think, or at least the chorus is in your lyrics. I think maybe just the chorus. I don't know it real well. I'm just learning it, so bear with me. I've heard it all my adult life, but I never played it before. So I'll just do my best. Bob Franke, by the way, is a wonderful, amazing songwriter. He wrote a song called Hard Love. Some of you may know that. Maybe I'll do that sometime. Very powerful. He's a minister, actually, but known as a songwriter more than as a minister. So here we go. Thanksgiving Eve. Easy to dream of the days gone by. It's a hard thing to think of the times to come, but the grace to accept every moment as a gift is a gift that is given to some. And here's the chorus. What can you do with your days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. Sing that. What can you do with your life but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do? What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. There are sorrows enough for the whole world's end. There are no guarantees but the grave. And the life that I live and the times that I have spent are a treasure too precious to save. What can you do? What can you do with your life days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. As it was, so it is. As it is, it shall be. It shall be. While lips that kiss have breath, many waters indeed only nurture love's seed, and its flower overshadows the power of death. What can you do with your days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. Let's do that chorus, such a great chorus. Can you do with your days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. Oh, yay. Bob Franke. I should try to get him on sometime. I didn't think of that. Which reminds me, some of you have heard rumors of my upcoming birthday bash, birthday extravaganza. I have the ill or good fortune to have been born 2 days before Christmas. And there's some good things about it, and there's some not so fun things about it. One of the not fun things is trying to plan a party in the middle of the party season. It's just a lesson in frustration. I gave up trying to have birthday parties quite a long while ago. But nonetheless, I'm going to be 71, Tina. 71. Yep. And but anyway, so I thought the funnest thing I could imagine doing for my birthday would be to get together a bunch of my favorite songwriters, singer, artists, and you've met a lot of them already on this series, but get them all together, many of them on one night, and just give them to you as a gift. It's going to be a gift to me, but oh my goodness, woo! What a gift. So I'm working on it. I've got an incredible roster of maybes and we're trying to land on the right date that has the most people. So I want you to pencil in December 23rd because that is my birthday. And so far that's looking like a good date, but it may not end up being the date. The second one might be December 18th, which is a Saturday at 4 in the afternoon. This is for the East Coast people, of which there are many. Who could come and sing if it wasn't at midnight for them or whatever. So just keep an eye on those dates. You know, you don't have to save them or anything, but just keep an eye on, and I'll let you know as soon as I know. It's coming together, but I'm talking people like, what can I name drop? Well, Judy Fiel, Linda Hirshhorn, Pat Humphreys and Sandy, Peter Blood and Annie Patterson from Rise Up Singing, Ruth Pelham, and maybe some of you remember Ruth from way back at the beginning of this series, one of my best friends, and getting her back. And Judith Black, the storyteller who came a year ago at New Year's Eve. Anyway, the list goes on. So we'll see. We won't have all of them, but we'll get a handful, so we'll keep you posted on that. As long as I'm yakking, I'll just say that your donations are always welcome, and I so appreciate them. As you know, some weeks they go to guest artists. Most weeks they go overseas to just a few projects I'm supporting in Kenya and Nepal. And they're not projects, they're people, excuse me. They are projects, but they're people that I care deeply about, and you've joined me in that caring. Thank you so much. And thank you for the beautiful cards you snail mail people. Oof, boy, those cards. I have them up. I'm not going to move my equipment around to show you, but I got them all hanging up on the sides of my closet door here and stapled together in these hanging ribbons. It's really sweet. So you are with me all the time. So I've got one more song, and then I think, Storm, we will have time for your poem. I believe we will. So this is such a beautiful song. This is an autumn song. It's called Fly, 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 and it's a round. And we know that rounds are just hopeless on Zoom, but I have a workaround. I'm very clever at these things. When I want something, I figure it out. So what I have is a wonderful recording of a women's a cappella group called Libana from the East Coast. They've been around a long, long time. Yes, many of you know them. Singing this in parts. So in a little minute, I'm going to put them up, and they will lead the song after I teach it to you, okay? But first, I want to teach it to you. So here's how it goes. It was written by Peter Erdley, and I first learned it from Judy Fiel, I believe. So here's how it goes. Four lines. Fly, 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 the leaves are leaving the branch, cold are the winds, winter is coming. Very minor key, very wistful, and haunting. So this, to me, really evokes the falling of the leaves, the gray. Today was such a gray day in Berkeley. Oh my God, it was very gray. And so wherever you are, may the leaves be falling, may the skies pour rain upon you if you need it, or not if you don't. And let's invoke the flying of the leaves together. So I'm going to do one line, you sing it back. Next line, you sing it back. Fly, fly, fly. Your turn. Fly, fly, fly. My turn. The leaves are leaving the branch. The leaves are leaving the branch. Cold are the winds, cold are the winds. Winter is coming, winter is coming. And I may have held coming too long. I think it's actually coming, but we'll find out when Libana does it right. Try the whole thing with me a few times. Here we go. Fly, 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 the leaves Cold are the winds, winter is coming. Fly, fly, fly. The leaves are leaving the branch. Cold are the winds, winter is coming. Fly, fly, fly. The leaves are leaving the branch. Cold are the winds, winter is coming. How does that feel? You feel it pretty comfortable? It's kind of a pretty straight walk down the ladder. You know, it's not a real twisty, windy melody. Now, the place where rounds are so interesting because where the second part comes in matters. Most rounds, it's pretty obvious. This round, I have never heard a round come in on the beat that this round comes in. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play you a little bit of Libana doing it so you hear that, and then we're going to stop and start over. I just want you to hear when the second part comes in, because my hope is by singing it with them, some of you will come in on the second part, and then there is even a third part, and you can come in with them. So even though we won't hear each other, we'll do it. All right, let me do a little screen share here, and we will start the music. Them. But anyway, I just want to give you that warm-up. So you see it comes in at an odd time. Could you hear my voice as well as theirs? Good. Okay, it's working. Excellent. So now we're going to just do it right with them to the end. It's not very long, but we'll enjoy it very, very much. So enjoy. Here we go. First time in unison. Thank you, Libana. Wow. Oh, I love sharing that stuff with you. We've done this a couple of times, haven't we? We've had something come in, a recorded voice, and it's really worked really nicely. Wow, thank you. I just was reading the chat. I was catching up on the chat, and I'm sorry somebody felt that my sound was a little low. Did others find my sound a little low? Okay, all right then. Got to turn up your hearing aid then. There you go. All right, friends. Storm has offered to share a Thanksgiving poem with us, so please, Storm, you'll have to ask him to unmute Liz. I think that's how it works. Click on his little 3 dots and then just do ask unmute or something like that. Maybe I can do it. I don't know. Beautiful.
All
Okay.
right, can you
Thank you.
hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
A poem of thanksgiving. Give thanks for living, thanks for a home, for time spent together and others alone. Thanks for a stone, a flower, the skies, the looks we find in other folks' eyes. Thanks for the future, thanks for the past, thanks for the bonds that hold us fast. Thanks for today, and thanks for tomorrow. Thanks for the joys, and thanks for the sorrow. Thanks for our learning from whatever's in store. Thanks for our knowing that there is more. More waiting in you, more waiting in me. Better worlds to form, better people to be. And I wrote it.
That is wonderful. Oh, it couldn't be more perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that's, yeah, very much enthusiasm in the crowd. Storm, if you could ever type that up and send it to me, then I could get it out to people. I think people would love to have that. A nice thing to read at the Thanksgiving table, huh? Yeah, yeah, that was lovely. Um, okay, well, we are honestly, I can't believe it, but we're actually on time tonight. I'm impressed with myself. I get gold stars tonight. I think this is the first time I've ended on time the whole series. Um, and I want to end just by bringing in one other theme, just because it's so been on my mind and heart, and I know it has been on yours, which is the whole COP26 climate summit over in Glasgow that has, I believe, ended officially, if not unofficially. And I want to just end with some honoring of the young activists and the Indigenous activists and the grassroots activists, the people who are trying to lead the way. You know, they know how to do this and they know what to do. And to hear their passion, their wisdom, and their anger and their unafraidness in calling out what the powers, so-called powers that be, are doing. They named names and they told it like it was, and it was a beautiful thing. That expression, speak truth to power, we heard it over and over. If you were lucky enough to hear any of the young activists or the Indigenous people from around the world, or just the people from developing countries, unbelievable truth telling going on. So this is good. They're not making up stories. They're not buying the story. They are saying, as Greta Thunberg said, blah, blah, blah to your stories, right? And so I think that some of the fakery of storytelling is failing. You know, the young are not so easily fooled. So on that note, I want to sing something just for them and for all of us. And it is a lullaby that we've sung before. It's one of my favorites. It's mine. I wrote it for my child when he was very young, a year or two at the most. And it seemed especially good for the young activists because it evokes the eternal presence of the universe, the natural shining stars, the moon, the earth turning, as a place to rest and be safe. Something you can count on when everything else seems very slippery. So for all of you young people, all of you climate activists of all realms and all times and places, thank you. And may we all be with you. May we all be joining you in our own ways. All night long. It's got a chorus, you'll find it. Do you know the stars are singing all night long, and the earth is safely spinning all night long? Do you know and your heart will never lose it. All night long, you were born for dancing to it. All night long, all night long, just for you. Chorus. All night long, all night long, all night long, just for you. A dark cocoon enfolds you all night long. Like a blanket, night will hold you all night long. Sky above and earth below you all night long. Everybody, all night long, just for you. And then just sing with me all night long. All night long, all night long, all night long, just for you. Do you know the stars are singing all night long, and the earth is safely spinning all night long. Day is ending and beginning all night long, all night long, just for you. All together. All night long, all night long, all night long, just for you. And maybe let's just all bring to mind one young person, could be a grandchild, friend's child, someone you teach, your own child, doesn't have to be little, or maybe just a young activist, someone who's is out there trying their best to make a difference. And let's sing it one more time for them. All night long, all night long, all night long, just for you. All night long, just for you. Ah, thank you, my friends, so much. Thank you.